Hello, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den podcast. I was gonna say Monday night, but that was that was not Monday night, Louis.
That would be inaccurate. Yeah.
Another episode of the Lions Den podcast, episode 45, titled Goalkeepers Duel, sorry. And we're kind of a lonely night, but don't worry, because we have lots of things to talk about in regards to what happened on a bittersweet draw versus Tigres, which should have been a victory, but Louis will definitely get to talking about everything that happened during that game. Carlos is out, but we wish he gets his stuff done. He will be joining us next week, and Javier and Jose will be joining us sometime soon. So just me and Louis. Louis, how are you feeling tonight?
Pretty good, pretty good. Still don't know what to make of that game, but feeling okay. It's not a terrible result.
No, not a terrible result. And let's just
I,
go ahead and
I,
go.
I would have felt better if the rest of the jornada had played out a little bit more in our favor. We fell literally as low as we could have fallen, given the rest of the results that followed ours. So that was
Exactly.
a little disheartening. But
Exactly.
but we're still in fourth and 4 points clear of the next best team. So it's not the end of the world.
Good way to put it.
Uh,
Javier, can you hear us?
I'm
Okay,
thinking Javier
that's a
still
that's a no
cannot
face.
hear us.
It's okay. We will
Can you guys hear me?
continue.
We
Yes,
we can hear you, brother.
yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hopefully Javier figures out his audio. And let's just jump into what the starting lineup was versus Tigres. A 5 o'clock match game in Leon. And we had Ngo, Rodolfo Cota. Same back line. I mean, basically the same lineup he has repeated. Navarrito, Steven Barreiro, and William Tecillo, center back duo. Jair Moreno as the left back. Pedro Aquino, Luis Montes. Again, we see that Pedro Aquino is starting again. Angel Mena and Meneses on the wings. We had Nico Sosa and Gigliotti up top. Not surprised. I mean, this is kind of what we predicted, right, Louis? That same lineup was going to start. Que no le
Same
muevan.
lineup, same exact lineup, three matches in a row, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Which is great to see that continuity, not being interrupted. Knock on whatever I have closest to wood here. Knock on wood. No more COVID cases to keep that from happening. But yeah, it's nice to see that continuity. Hopefully they can maintain it and get even more comfortable with one another, and just have that consistency. It's nice to
Definitely.
see. It's nice to see it for a few matches now.
Definitely. And that's what we expect. And I think it's a totally different ball game for Leon this season, but in a way it looks like it's good. Since Carlos is not here to present our team news, I will be presenting the team news in his favor. So shout out to Carlos with his live tweeting throughout the whole game, providing goals and just everything if you guys are not watching the game. He had Andres Mosquera will be out for at least 2 more weeks due to lower back complications, which we had mentioned that there was a rumor going around about why he was out last week, even though we had the whole foreign kind of numbers. Then after early reminder 2 years ago on September 19, 2008, Nacho Ambriz officially became a head coach for La Fiera, kind of an anniversary there. And then also in other news, Jesus Godinez will play with the club for the remainder of the season as the Liga MX player registration came to a close. Godinez has not played in a first division match since March 1st of 2020, which he was captain. And is that correct for the younger squad?
Maybe I don't. I honestly don't remember. But I wouldn't read into
I think
that
I
too
saw
much. I
something
mean,
out there.
he's still gonna be on the team's books because they couldn't get rid of him. But I don't expect him to play a single minute for the first team. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, unless he has some kind of major unexpected, unforeseen development over the course of the season, I don't expect to see him suit up in a first division match. But I could be wrong.
Are we talking about Godinez?
Yeah.
Or are we talking about?
We are talking about Godinez.
Yes.
Can you hear us now, Javier?
I don't think he's gonna play at all this season. I don't think. If anything, probably sub-20 maybe, if that. I don't think he's gonna play at all. He would have already played, I think.
Yeah. Well, he's not even on bench either.
Unless like Gigliotti and Sosa like go the 5 straight matches without a goal or something, and they're just desperate and looking for another option. And you throw Godinez out there, maybe he'll do something, but it would have to take something extreme like that.
Yeah,
in order for him to play. Yeah,
or everybody gets COVID, like 20 players from Leon, and all right, now you can play Godinez.
Might as well forfeit in that case. We can't play with just one.
We can win with Godinez. I believe in him. No.
I mean, but look, you look at the subs, and we have, okay, so subs for that game, we have Alfonso Blanco, Valdito Rodriguez, Nacho Gonzalez, Joel Campo, Avion Ramirez, Ivan Rodriguez, Heath Buron, and then you go with the youngsters. We go, Jesus Golini was on bench. But I mean, it's really rare when I actually take him in consideration because I see more of an Armando Leon play and Samudio play than Godinez ever sub in.
Yeah.
So Louis had mentioned a game that was just very bittersweet. Why, guys? Because I think it was a game that we let go out of our hands. It was a game that we should have just put it away, and because of a silly mistake, honestly, defensively, we got scored on. Changoloco joined us on the comments. Had disappointed from Leon, a struggling Tigres who also went 10 men and semi-injured goalkeeper.
All right, Changoloco.
Yeah, I was looking back at the run of form the entire season up to this point. It's really been a 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of season. If you go back to that first match against Chivas, played better but drew, beat Monterrey in the next game. Game after that, lost badly to Cruz Azul. Game after that, beat Xolos at home. Beat Pachuca on the road, then beat Xolos at home. Draw rather unceremoniously with Juarez on the road. Come home, beat Atlas, then beat Necaxa even better on the road. Come home and draw rather unceremoniously with a game we could have won. Definitely not a terrible result in a vacuum, but a game that we could have and should have won and have maintained the Superliderato. So it's definitely a step back, but if you look at that, it's really interesting the way that the season has gone. 2 good games, a bad game. 2 good games, bad game.
Yeah,
2 good games and not as good, not nearly as good a game. But it's gonna be a slow. It's a slow crawl to where we want to go. I think we're not gonna have, as I mentioned, I don't think we're gonna have that breakout game. I was hoping. Especially once I heard we had our Tigres correspondent on with us, and he wasn't even very confident in his own team.
He got the result right.
Yeah, he got the result right because he said, "I'm not going to bet against my team." Like I wouldn't either. I would never bet against Leon, no matter how poorly they were playing. So I get that. But to hear him describe the state of affairs for the club, like if he's not confident in his team, I'm not going to be confident in his team. I really thought we were going to take advantage of hey Paco.
Hello.
I really thought we were going to take advantage of the poor form that Tigres was on, but clearly, to their credit, they stepped up. They knew this. I mean, this was a game they were really going to have to play better than they had, and they did, and they got a point out of it. I still think Leon was pretty much in control. I think Leon played better. They were in control of the match. The match was never really in doubt. It was really more about Leon not doing as much as they could, more than Tigres, really playing up to the Tigres level. We have to remember though that this, no matter how poorly Tigres has played, this is still Tigres. I mean, with that roster they have, they can still make you suffer, and they can definitely still make you pay for mistakes, which is what they did. They made us pay for a blunder. Yes. And that's why we have the result that we do.
I mean, Gignac was still a danger up top, One of those, he could have easily just put it in.
Let's not forget, even though we hate the guy, Nahuel Guzman, I think, was I can kind of see why they weren't winning. Because I think he wasn't playing. And I really do believe that he had a lot to do with the tie. I think he has ese liderazgo for Tigres. But you're right. Guignac was still looking pretty dangerous. We had Cota that was on key and on every moment. I think our defense was really good. Pero como dijo Kari, I do think that what really happened was for a couple of seconds, a distraction like the way they had caused for them, because really when it came to everything else, it wasn't even close. To me, Leon was proponiendo. I heard people say that there was both teams wanted to win, and I was kind of like, I don't know. I think even towards the end, I think they just wanted to get out of there with the point that they had, especially after Pizarro got the red card.
Yes,
But,
definitely.
Yeah. For them, a point was a clear victory with the run of form they were on. Getting an away draw against the leader general is definitely that was a victory for them.
Yes. Especially how poorly they've been doing, and just in the past 4 games. So I think when we actually do what?
I would say that Tigres played their best game against Leon.
They probably did.
Which
and,
is to
and
be,
they got lucky because, like you said, it basically was a win for them. I mean, looking at how we played that game, and I think it came to kind of just me realizing in this game that what Leon has done so well is. Oh, he said, I want beer.
We all want beer, Paco.
We all do.
Paco, tienes mi número. Escríbeme y vamos por una cerveza.
Yeah. Honestly, hi, bro.
I think what Leon has been doing really well, and I think especially in this game against Tigre, it kind of put things in perspective, is that our defense has moved so well, and they actually play around Fernando Navarro. He's an important player that has been there and present throughout the past couple of matches, last match and then this match, and just the way his movement is, you can kind of see that shift in the defense and how Barreiro kind of covers for Navarro, because sometimes Navarro's just all the way up there on one wing, then he comes back, then he's in the middle. I feel like the whole team is pretty much playing around Navarro. So what did he say? Let's see. Felicidades, chicos. Cari, cuidado con ellos. No te preocupes. We've been doing this for a whole year.
Saludos, Paco. So remember
Saludos,
back when I first got to Leon, like in 2016, I used to always want to. I would ask Paco, "Can I go to La MBS Radio?" Because I would love seeing him and El Warrior just fight. And that was my Spanish school, man. That was like my sports journalism school. Just seeing these guys go at it, using the kind of words that they would use, and I learned a lot from them. And Paco gave me a lot of great advice. So that's why I say he's a sensei, because they're the people that I saw even back then when I was in San Diego, listening to them and just kind of saying, I want to do that, but in English. I could do that, but maybe even bilingual too. But it started off. Is Jose here?
I mean, that's what we do. Yes, Jose is present. Can you hear us, Jose? Or is he frozen too?
No, his screen looks like a BLM statement right at the moment.
But yeah,
they can hear us.
Well, anyway,
he'll get in here in a second.
Okay, yes. So where we're talking about before.
I'm talking about how the defense kind of plays around Navarrito, especially how he had a fantastic game.
Well, we were talking before about how crisp the defensive rotation is to allow him to get up forward and be in positions to have those great moments on offense, like he had in that goal he had that was reminiscent of Benjamin Pavard, which I thought was so funny because it was almost the same spot, a little closer in, and they both play as right backs, but they both have that great shot from distance, So that was a great moment for Navarrito, but it wouldn't be possible without the defensive rotation in such such harmony, so they can allow him to come up and be a factor on offense.
And Kari said it.
And they're just so insane.
With Barreiro, right? We're going to agree that Barreiro. And I was telling Louis when we were watching the game, like, hey, man, Barreiro's been playing really well. Like
Well,
He does very well because as soon as Navarro goes up,
Barreto had the pass that should have been the winning
he
goal.
passed it to Navarro, right?
No, it
Yeah.
was to Mena.
yeah,
To Mena in the second
Oh
half.
yeah,
It was line breaking pass. Like there was a big gap, and Barreto just put it right on target, and Mena just credit to Nahuel who got his hand just in the right place.
Yeah.
But that should have been the game winning goal. That should have been the game winning goal right there.
Yeah, Nahuel definitely was a factor for Tigres because that was one of those plays too where you're like, Mena would have easily put that in, but he just stretched his arm long enough to stop the ball. But I agree with Kari. Este León does play in a way where they let Fernando Navarro or Fernandito Pavard, I'm gonna call him that now. And by the way, Louis called it right away. Right away when they made the goal, he's like, "Oh, that was like Pavard." I'm like, "Calm down, bro." And then all of a sudden, it was everywhere, like Pavard, Pavard, Pavard. I'm like, "Okay,
Riflazo,
yeah." Louis called it though, but yeah, golazo.
It was not as good. Okay, it was not as
It wasn't
good
like
as the
I
Pavard
told you.
goal.
Of
The
course,
Pavard goal
yeah.
was
That's what I
like
said.
that was Puskás. That was Puskás
Yeah, that was
material. And Navarro's was not, but it was still a really, really
It was
good,
a golazo.
really good goal.
it was a golazo. It was to admire.
It reminisced a little bit. It kind of reminded you a little bit of that goal. But you're right. I do think I think Navarro, what he does it a little better than what I think I would want to see Jairo do. Jairo Moreno,
Well, then that's the thing. That's the thing, though. We can see how, and we've talked about this, how mature Yairo has been. And you know what helps playing around Navarro is that Yairo stays more back. He plays more defensive.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have two players going up. You have Navarro going up, and then you see that shift in the defense, which is why we haven't been scored on as much. Why I mean maybe it just as all we have more possessions. We keep the ball around. We have that tiki taka around the players because Navarro has been key. And just even offensively, obviously we've talked about Gigliotti and how his 100% effort is appreciated. We talked about Nico Sosa. He's not a number 9, but he contributes a lot in the play. But we need to talk about Navarrito and how he gets in behind those defense, the spaces behind the defense, which is what JJ Macias did before. And that's the kind of factor that we're missing. And to see Navarrito, our right back, just do that and squeeze in behind spaces. Even Luis Montes had an opportunity to. I mean, you just see this Leon that has so many interchangeable pieces and they can just sync so well together. And I think I've come to realize that I'm kind of content with how we're playing, honestly.
Of course.
Well, yes.
What do you think, Jose? Jose.
Jose, let us know.
I mean, if you want Jairo to do what Navarro does, there has to be a payoff. So if you want Jairo to do what he does, then Navarro has to do what usually Jairo does. He has to stay back. So there has to be a three-man backline right there for him to be able to do that. So I mean, they could take turns, I guess, if you will.
Well, that's what happened whenever the substitution came in. They gave Yairo the freedom to kind of just explode to his fullest on that wing.
Exactly. Yeah,
but also I think it's like an experience and a craftiness kind of thing. Navarro at this point in his career is a crafty veteran. He's developed more qualities. Or I'm not saying I think Yairo is just a player who's oozing with talent. He's still a young player. You can see that he still is going to grow a lot and turn into a really, really good player. Probably by that time he won't be on León anymore. But you can see where he's going. Navarro's just he's developed his game, he's developed his crafting, and he's got this unique role that he wouldn't have with any other club. I think we mentioned this before, but he's got this unique role on León that he wouldn't have with any club, where he's kind of just your jack of all trades. He's your right back, but sometimes he's your most dangerous attacking player. And he's also got a very different build than Yairo. Yairo is tall and lanky. He's got these amazing strides. He can make these little quick passes that have a lot of pace. Yairo's built more like, Navarro's built more like, he's his center of gravity is more to the ground. He's built like a Messi type number 10, pretty much.
He's.
I
agree.
Yeah.
Y era delantero, so él sabe definir. That's another thing.
Well, no, he's been almost everything. I think we've said he's been everything but a goalkeeper. Maybe a center back. Maybe a center back, because he's not really tall enough to be center back. Everything but goalkeeper and center back over the course of his career.
I think what it is though, it's with Navarro, it's been a combination of all the things he's been throughout his career. So he was in Atlante, like you were mentioning. He started off as a winger, and then he played off as a center forward. That's where those fronts come from. So he just it's just like it's just how he's developed, and all, he put all that together, and then he put it all together now in Leon under Ambris. Now that's why he makes as a winger, and then he goes inside. So as where Jairo up and down on the left back and on as a winger, but you don't really see him as a center forward, right?
No.
Because that's why it's different. Also because of the build, like how you were talking.
Yeah, the build. And also back with well, I mean, I want to stick with Fernando, but yeah, definitely I think Jairo, he has matured. I think le llamaron la atención about, hey, every time you go forward too much, you kind of leave that part exposed. Not to say that the CEO can't cover that, but I do think in the past it was a little bit of a like, hey, you need to mature a little bit more. Like, it's not always going forward, but with this game with Tigres, you saw like towards the end of the first half, and then of course the second half, he started going a little bit more. Even though I saw Leon play more from the side of Mena and Navarro, I felt like they were more going like playing from that side than from Meneses and Jairos. But man, when Jairo goes forward too, like it's just a matter of time before he que meta uno de esos golazos, and I do think he's going to be one of those players that are going to be sold to Europe. He has the quality, and him and Navarro both, man. Like I think we have a really good right and a left back, man. Like we have top of like the league, and that has to be like something that other teams know, and they must prepare. They must prepare for that because, man, tiene muchas armas, Leon. You know what I mean? Like.
But now, if only their counterparts, one position forward on both sides, could find their forward. I really think that's all they're missing right at the moment.
Yes.
Yeah, they need to find
I hear
their stride.
I hear a lot of people saying, falta un killer, tenemos todo, pero falta un killer. And they're really, I don't see it that way. I don't think the answer is in a player that's not on the roster, like one player that's not on the roster. The Ambris offense, when it's been at its best, has never depended on one person. It's always been colectivo, and it's always dependent on Meneses and Mena being on form, and neither of them are. And that's rough when you depend on your entire front line to be dangerous at all times.
That's what we're struggling to.
When you depend on all those guys to be dangerous, and half of them or two of them are not, and when you have a guy like Gigliotti, you can really help, but he needs to be fed his opportunities. Clearly, and Nico, who I thought Nico played probably one of maybe his best game as a member of the team against Tigres. He was everywhere, active all over the field. I mean, we've been Nico Sosa, we've been seeing that a lot, but he was all over the place, just making a difference, getting in there, making interventions, making takeaways, whatever you want. But he's not a goleador. He's not a goleador. He's a disruptor. He's He's in there to disrupt, but he's not a goleador. So we really need Mena and Meneses to be on form, and they're just not yet. They just are not yet.
Yeah, Nico Sosa was something I was going to say too about we're watching the game, and I told you, is that Nico like defending all the way down there? I guess.
Yeah. Like in where a contention should be. Like what's Nico doing there? But then in the split second, he's back in his attack.
He's back
position.
up.
Yeah. He's everywhere.
Nico, is that really Nico? Like, why is he defending? Like, and that's cool because sometimes we say, "Come on, Nico, you're missing all the easy ones." And that's easy to say. We're not in there playing. Who knows if that was a really easy one? We just want him to score, right? But if he's not scoring, at least que lo que le pide el técnico, las funciones, that he does it well, and he does, because he does defend. He does right and left. He goes everywhere, and we do need like Meneses and Mena to be more in form. I do think that's the reason why we're not the Leon from last year. I don't think they're not even at half the potential that they could really reach. Other than that, our defense, I think it's better than ever. So it's kind of like, what do you want? Like You want to golear, gustar, and ganar, or just ganar?
Well,
And
I just think in the last attacking third, this game we should have won. Period. Like we let
yes,
this game go for a silly mistake. You know what? If it was a 1-0, okay, but you know what? If Leon showed that they held it down, that we weren't worried, that even though maybe they weren't created as much or closing out, that they were just having possession, not letting all these silly, things happen. 1-0, okay, you know what? We played solid. We got the win. Doesn't matter if it was 5-0, we got a 1-0. Pero we should not have lost this game, period. Especially at home. That somebody said. It was basically a loss. Like we lost 2 points. Literally, that's what he said. And that's what happened. Like I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything because even though our defense is great and Navarrito, and I mean the defense is on point. And I've always complained about defense of kind of being on edge because of kind of
sucks and all that. We used to always go at them, but you're right.
Yeah, and not in a bad way, but just in a way that yes, you guys can push up, but you have to drop back down because you are leaving all the area exposed, and then that's when we get counters. So my thing right now is, I love the effort of Nico Sosa. He had a good game. I love the energy of Gigliotti. Yes, we do have people who have goal scoring opportunities. I just need them to be fine. I just need them to be able to close out a game because yesterday, to me, the Cota was on point. The defense was on point. We need to close the game. Period.
You're right. Yeah. You know what else was frustrating? Even if we had one man, it wasn't even like we were trying to win the game. That's how I felt. I was looking at Louis like, man. Obviously, Tigres did their thing. Nahuel was like, oh, I need a bandage or something. And I think after Pizarro got the red card, it was like 4 or 5 minutes that had passed. That being said, though, I didn't see Leon tomar la iniciativa to say, you know what, we got to win this game. We're one man up. I think that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right. We need to learn how to close these games, how to win these games, win in the last seconds of the game. Like Cruz Azul versus Pachuca. I was watching that game and I was like, what? They really won last second? Like, why can we have
that was painful.
Yeah, of course.
Because Pachuca had a chance, like a really good chance to steal it, to make it a Cruz Azuleada, like instead of a reverse Cruz Azuleada.
That's scary though, because that means Cruz Azul. I don't know, man.
They play till the final whistle. That's for sure. We didn't. I agree with you, Javier. I don't think we played till the final whistle, especially last 15, 20 minminutes. Up a man really should have gone to the jugular.
Yeah, that's what we want to see. But anyway.
What were you gonna say?
Jose? Jose. Sorry.
So I gotta say something regarding that record that you were talking about. I mean, it's the last three games, but also if we count like the whole season and 4 games throughout the season, and in the last 3 games, the opposite team has gotten one record, and in all those games we have never managed to score one single goal. We haven't gone up 1 goal. Like we haven't extended the lead, and that was the same case right here in versus Tigres, and it cost us the game. We couldn't go like up the score at least 1 goal and lost too. Like we are unable to even with a 10-man rival team, we were unable to score on the team. It was Tigres, but it's this is like the worst Tigres that we have seen, and we couldn't win against the Tigres. It was a massive disappointment.
Yeah.
I will say yes, but you're right. I will say though, Tigres did come in a little more inspired. They looked more inspired than they had before the red card.
That's
why we still should have won. We still should have won. It's not an excuse. It's not an excuse.
It does feel like they played their best game of the season, which is kind of, and Nahuel was back, and it was like all that. I hated it, because it was kind of like, no, why can you up and back next game? But you know what, Lou? I think it's because maybe it's not Leon's time to shine. They had to tie so people could be talking about los Chilangos, how they're all in the top 3, and like, oh yeah, they're the best. Don't worry, we're gonna face Pumas. We're gonna face America.
The only positive thing that I see about like Leon not hitting like their top form yet is that if they hit it at the end of the regular season, then we're gonna be solid. That's only.
It has more to do. It has more to do with that than the chatter about the Chilango teams. Like I think we talked about this several pods ago about how se tiene que dosificar, because they've given their all in the regular season pretty much the entire time that Ambris has been there, and by the time they get the Liguilla, they don't have enough energy left to see the whole thing through. I'm not going to put that as an excuse. They should have giving not even really much more energy than they did. They should have easily won this game. But I think the mentality of both the players and the coaches, regardless of what Ambris says about losing 2 points, he's right. They lost 2 points. It's not like they didn't earn a point. They lost 2. But in general terms, this team has played great regular seasons. Golearon, gustaron, just running roughshod over the rivals. And by the time they get to Liguilla, they don't have anything left. It's time to coronarse. It's time for a title now. However they got to do it. If it's gonna be an ugly regular season, if it's gonna be some draws that should be wins here and there. I mean, as long as everything is a result, as long as we keep getting results, maybe 2 wins for every draw, or we might get a few more draws we want. As long as we're not losing, and as long as we're staying clear of the people biting our ankles in the top 4, like we are now, we're 4 points clear of Pachuca in the top 4. We fell to 4th from first, which does not feel good, but we're clearly installed in the top 4, 1 point away from the leaders. As long as that remains the case until the Liguilla, it's okay. It's not. We don't. As long as they don't have to give every last effort to stay in the top 4, they're okay. We don't want to get the Liguilla and have another Liguilla like all the ones we've had before, where we just aren't ourselves anymore. We just don't have that extra gear to give, and we get knocked out early.
Isn't it always better? Instead of starting off really good from the beginning, kind of having these like, I don't know what our team this year, and then all of a sudden like, oh, they beat Querétaro 4-0, and then the next team is Pumas, who I'm glad they're invicto, because I kind of wanted to stay invicto so they can play León. León beats them 2-0, whatever, and then after that is San Luis and then America. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think maybe we didn't beat Tigres because it's not our time yet to be like making all these noises yet. Let them have their week of Chilangolandia being on the top. But I do think once the Pumas versus León game and the León versus America game, when they face, we're going to see exactly who's going to be in the Super Liderato, even though it doesn't really matter. We know that as León fans, we don't really care that we're in the top positions. It just feels good. It's just bragging rights. And if we can close the championship, even better. But you're right. Lo más importante es cerrar bien. So like have our best games kind of towards the end, not really during the beginning. Because when we had those 12 wins in a row, it was towards the like first cuatro jornadas, right? And then it kind of ended like in the 14th jornada, and then that's when we started struggling. Right after Chivas, we had some 3 really doubtful performances that kind of just we dragged it along La Liguilla, and that's kind of what I don't want to see. I'd rather have these problems right now, and then little by little, start winning. And like Kari said, I like how our team plays. Yeah, we can play way better, of course, but I think like let's. How about we don't show exactly what we got? How about I hope Nacho Ambriz has like a lot of like, I don't know, tactics under his, and then like by the time it's La Liguilla, he's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna have Avion like with Navarro and Mena. Who knows? I don't know what he's planning. I do think he's a person that's constantly thinking about formations and thinking about what player plays better with another player. Of course, I think he's todavía está experimentando, not too much though, because ya ha repetido alineaciones. Ya ha repetido alineaciones.
It's experiment, but don't do it too much, because you want
to.
No. Not that much.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't do it in La Liguilla. Do it right now, not in La Liguilla.
The Pumas is a good example, though. They strike me as a real fool's gold team right now. They're winning, but did you see? I don't know if you guys watched their game against Santos last night. Both of their goals were golazos that a team like ours with a stout defense will not let would not let happen. I mean, they're depending on genialidades. Like remember when we beat Monterrey in jornada dos with that Montes golazo, and we're like, that's a great golazo, but that's not a sustainable way to win. And exactly. It's not a sustainable way to win for Pumas either. They've they have Goleado and Gustado. They've really looked like a team that has a great regular season and gets to Liguilla and has no idea what they're doing. So that's what I really want to avoid. We've had our great regular seasons.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun to just go on these runs and just go all these places and see your team destroy all these teams. But at this point, I'd rather have a championship, guys.
No, I agree. The only thing is that at the end of the day, we need goals. Like, for example, we go back to that game with the America's second leg. Yes, we got lucky because of the position we were in, but at the end of the day, how we're playing right now, we need to finish. I mean, if we're not getting a lot of opportunities, we need to finish the ones that we do have. And not wait on the sense of urgency until Tigres scores. Oh, guys, we need to score now. No, that I don't want to rely on that because we have
Yeah, you're right. That's kind of where I'm saying maybe the
that's a team that team Leon 11.
Yeah, which is what I'm saying. Like that's why hopefully with the Pumas game or the America game, we will see this Leon that we want to see. The Leon that instead of más porque te meten goal, you have the urgency all of a sudden. Oh, we got to win this game. How about you score 2-3 goals in the first half? Because you have the potential. Because León llega, es el equipo que más llega en el fútbol mexicano. Tiene más llegada. But for whatever reason, like it's not the same from like last year. No estamos con Queretaro. Bueno, it's not even that either. It's just that we were seeing the goals come from Navarro and Montes and not really our strikers. I don't know. I just hopefully against Pumas, which is I think the most attractive León Pumas games I can remember for a while, because ellos vienen con todo, right? They are in the top 4. That's going to be a good game. There's going to be.
Yeah, I don't think we should expect to see like a certain desperton in a certain game or a certain opponent. It's just like, okay, last 3 or 4 or 5 jornadas, we're starting to look like not just in championship positions or not just in the top of the table, but looking like a championship contender.
Yeah.
Because I would argue nobody really looks like a championship contender. I guess the closest would be Pumas, but we all know that style of play doesn't often lend itself well to success in the year. So I would say there isn't really a championship contender yet. So all I would ask is the last 4 or 5 jornadas, we start to look more like a championship contender.
And you're going to be interesting. And with Pumas, their style of playing, I don't think it's going to work out against León. I think León is the best defense by far in La Liga Mexicana, which is going to cause other teams to kind of play like Tigres, which is why when you're playing on a team like Tigres that's going to play you like that, you've got to matarlos. You got to score as many as you're right. That's what we need. It's exactly what I feel nos ha faltado, right? Because every time we score one, we're like, oh, ya con eso, right? Against those kind of teams que se cierran contra León, that's not enough. Like you really gotta, and that's why I think with Pumas, it's going to be an interesting game, because I don't think that team is going to cerrarse. I think they're going to try to play like they're playing every other team. And that's when we got to be a different León from historically in the past, in which we're not going to be the ones que van a atacar con todo. We're going to be like, all right, we're good at controlling the ball. We're good at passing the ball. Let's be smarter this time. Let's have control of the ball, terminar las jugadas, and not really go all out full attack. And then, at the end, ellos meten un solo gol con un contragolpe. We can be that team que les mete goles con contragolpes. But, for whatever reason, this I wasn't even surprised with the game against Tigres the way they played. But I do feel like, we're doing all right things, good things. Like Hari said, me gusta. I mean, we could be like a Necaxa or an Atlas, que they don't even know what the hell is going on. But at least we have one style of playing, and all I think we need to do is kind of just see how it's gonna, the outcome against, I don't know, Querétaro, and then Pumas, and then San Luis, and then America. I do think these are the 4. Ahora sí, like we were talking about, when should we start preocupándonos? It's right now. We're gonna see right now cómo vamos a cerrar. And how we're gonna play, and who's gonna play. I think Nacho Ambriz already says, all right, I kind of got my team, which is interesting because I like how Aquino played too, and I don't know if Jefecito's gonna play now. Like those are the kind of things that I'm kind of questioning if I was Ambriz. Like okay, now that I feel that I got my real starting 11, like what's am I gonna switch it up, or is that it? I'm gonna play with Nico Sosa and Gigliotti. On top. Is that, that's kind of where where I think we're at. And if we're at that point, then it's good because that means that we already have como un estilo. Lo que nos falta es concretar.
Yeah,
I
see,
will say
like,
the. Oh, go ahead. Say sorry.
okay, good. No, you're
Hey,
fine.
bro.
No, you're fine. So like so it's like Leon is a well-tuned machine. So what it is like I think right now we have like 80% of it going, but we still like what it is with Leon is like all the pieces are essential. Like if one of the pieces is not working, then the whole thing is not working. So like right now we have 80% of working, but we still need Mena and Meneses. Like that's it. That's the other 20%. Like once they get going, I think we should be fine and we should be seeing the best version of them. Like,
And we're close, right? I think we all feel like we're getting close, right? For them to kind of
we're getting closer.
This is why these next games. Hey, man, these next games.
Well, my thing is, why didn't Avion just take over second half?
Yes.
I've been
That was
missing
what I was
him.
gonna say.
I've been proclaiming him on Twitter.
That I was gonna say.
Ramirez.
Why did Ambicious lo sentó y ya not like?
Well, that's what I was gonna say. The substitutions, none of his substitutions have been effective, and that is concerning. Both the players that he's choosing to bring on as subs and their performance once they get on. Campbell's another guy. Like if Mena or Meneses, say only Mena or Meneses finds their form this season and the other one just kind of stagnates, well, that can be made up for if Campbell finds his form because he can be a super sub if he finds his form. He hasn't found his form either. That's really concerning. Avion, I bring him on instead of Osby. I don't know why he brought on Osby. Like, sorry Osby. I've never been an Osby fan at all. I don't see why there's any reason for him to play. Like, bring on Avion or even bring on Armando Leon, anything. But not. I don't know. The subs. We can just call out names at this point because the subs he's bringing on are not contributing. They're not being effective, as they said on the Marca Claro commentary. Los cambios le han funcionado mucho mejor al Tuca que Ambriz, ¿no?
Yeah, that's what they said.
And it's true. And it's not like we don't have quality players on the bench now, and that we do. They're not effective. And part of that is them not being on form, and part of them is Ambriz choosing those guys instead of other guys to come on. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get why Avion is not even given chance because in my opinion, at least I think he's probably the most informed winger right now. And he's on the bench. So
at this point, I would put him
over
Mena, and then put Mena as like a super sub because I do feel like
Mena has been struggling this past game. So I'm like, okay, second half, bring him in 60, 65 minutes, bring on Navion Ramirez. We know that he's been one of the most effective and consistent players. Then obviously, take out the whole thing with Mena and the penales and stuff. We get it. But this game particularly, second half, where I think Meneses improved slightly. I'm not going to sit here and clap like my hands like I'm so fantastic, but he improved some than the past couple of games. But Mena on that wing, especially how most of the plays were on that wing, Mena needs to step it up. If not, sub him out and bring on Avion Ramirez because we know that we're going to get Avion Ramirez up and down the wing working hard because he's one of those other players that puts in work consistently. I mean, to me, he's just been my favorite for the season, and I've just been like at loss of him not starting, and I'm just like he needs to start, And I think
it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
And Avion right off the bat, luego se adaptó con el equipo, and he has that thing. He's hungry for success. He knows that León is probably the best opportunity he's ever had in Primera División, and so sorry, motorcycle. So I do think that. For that reason, if he put Avion in, he's gonna play like he's never he has something to prove because he does have something to prove. So it's weird. Again, Ambriz, I think it's fair to say, right, that he's one of those coaches that in the past has been said he could be like your best friend, tu motivador, but he can also for whatever reason have these little things where he's not even convocándote. I feel like he's gotten in these kind of situations with a lot of players. That's why players just leave the León, de la puerta de atrás. I don't know if it's him or the directiva, but it's a weird thing. It's something weird that I'm like, hey, maybe he could be better at this because I don't see a reason why Avion isn't isn't playing, except for maybe le cae mal Ambris or
No, I don't think so.
like,
I think it's just
because what
from
else
what.
can you do, right?
Yeah, I don't think so either because he won his trust. He was not expected to be
Yeah,
a starter or even be getting
Yeah.
real minutes
yeah.
out of
I
the
don't think
gate.
that's what it is.
I
The
hope
first
I
two
just
matches,
think.
titular indiscutible.
Yeah, I just think
So
maybe he stuck with the idea of Mena and Meneses kind of just getting that more consistent, having them work together. But it's not working for Mena. So I say you sub them out and put Ravion Ramirez. It's not like you're experimenting. You've done this before. It's worked out before. You can rely on this player. Just do it.
Yeah, it's one of those things because again, that's what we're saying about Aquino. Aquino wasn't playing for who knows why, and now he's playing. And I don't know if he's gonna like say, you know what, Jefecito's gonna come back. You're gonna have to sit down, or if he's gonna keep him. I don't know. I just think he's kind of bipolar when it comes to like this is my team now, and then like next thing you know, like it's he's borrado no de la convocatoria. Armando Leon is another player. Why I don't know why he's getting trash minutes or not even minutes at all. Maybe because he does want Nico and Gigliotti. Maybe it's that he just wants to give these guys minutes so they can come back in form by the time of the liguilla. And which is kind of like I appreciate that in a way because that's kind of how I want him to see the torneo. It's just a big pretemporada, but pretemporada where you got to play well and make points, right, and win. But yeah, I think as long as Mena and Meneses get those minutes and somehow those minutes cause them to be in better form by the time it's La Liguilla, then I'm all for it. Okay, Avion, you're not going to play then, Avion. But if it's not that, then yeah, put Avion in. I think I would have much rather seen him play than Osby Rodriguez. Plus, Osby is a defender. I don't understand. Was he trying to? Matosas would have put in Armando Leon, Avion Ramirez, and freaking Godinez. You know, like he's always trying to win the games.
yeah, well, I don't know. I don't want to tinker with the starting lineup right now. Cuddy and I were talking. We started off the show when we were waiting on you. Still talking about how we've had the same starting lineup for the last 3 games, and it's encouraging to see that consistency. Just no COVID cases, no injuries. Just have that consistency to be able to put out the same starting lineup 3 straight matches and let them grow, get comfortable and consistent together. I think for me, it's more about choosing the right players to come on as subs, when to bring them on as subs, and how to use them as subs because it just hasn't been working. And it was really evident last night when
it did not work against
when we should have been stepping on the jugular.
Yeah.
And we just we let 2 points go. Yeah.
And we could have been on the top. We could have been number 1.
Again.
But it's okay. Let them have their Chilangolandia. We're on the number 1. We're on top. Yeah, it's gonna be sweeter when we're champions and be like, toma la Chilangolandia.
Just think about it. In regards to stats, me and Tom were talking about America is doing better than they're supposed to do. Now, what does this mean?
So
they're going to come to a slow decline.
Yeah,
so
Tom's all about those expected stats.
Just wait for it. Just wait for it. Shout out to the Eagle Eye podcast. Good friends. They're also potting today.
Good
what
friends.
Is that?
They can't be good friends. Come on.
They're my good friends.
Enemy. They're the enemy.
My good friends.
No, on
the field, we're enemies, but they're my good friends. Shout out to Dylan, Christian, and Ivan. Keep up the good work. One of the other pods that we're consistently putting content out, and they're awesome. So Raul Guerrero said Frank Campbell and Gigliotti behind Mena, Montes, Avion, and Menes. Oh, I think the signal was bad for him. Sorry, Raul.
I think it's him because I have it right here on Periscope and it's fine.
It's been fine for me too. I think it's his connection, but that's. I would have said that at the beginning of the season, maybe.
Anyway, hold on. Raul, our guest, he has something important to say.
I'm from.
I think he means from. Yes, from San Diego. Yeah.
You're a Padres fan. You're watching the Padres. Yeah, playing good baseball.
Yeah. Back when we locked up Campbell on a 3-year deal and he's going to be part of our plans in the future and all that kind of stuff, and we were all excited about that. I would have been all for that, but
right now it seems like
right now I can't agree with him being in the starting lineup. He needs to come on in the 60th minute and make a difference. That's his role. That's what he needs to do. or 65th or whatever it might be. Come on and desequilibrar el juego. He needs to come on and be dangerous like he was in Juarez. Like when he came on in Juarez, that was the perfect example of what we need him to do. And he just no. He needs to do that before we can talk about making him a starter again. I don't know what's up with him. He's been a real disappointment this season, especially after all the hubbub we made over him, over his signing.
Yeah,
he's just going through a rough patch, and I think he needs to just find something to click with it. Because if this is the season that we're going to be campeón, I need him to contribute, and like you said, he needs to come in and make a difference. Because I think that's what we're slacking. I think
all will be forgiven. All will be forgiven if he comes in at the end and has some great games. It doesn't matter what he's doing now, but it's things are going to have to turn for him at some point.
So who does, Mena or
Campbell? Because we have a comment here suggesting that Campbell start, and I got to say that right now I can't. I'm not agreeing with that.
I'm gonna have to pass that.
When it comes to Campbell and Meneses and these guys, they're only one game away from all of these things that we criticize them for to be gone. Like if they have one really good game, that's it. Like we're gonna be like, hey, that's what we're asking you since the beginning. But yeah, right now we're just kind of mad at Meneses and Campbell because it's been over 9 jornadas, and we still haven't seen. Maybe it's not even just the scoring. It's just we haven't seen something, una jugada de peligro, constantly ganando los manos a manos like Campbell. Like that's his thing, and I haven't really seen him explotar esa. He had like one play, right, Louis, where la largó and he was gonna con su velocidad, but they stopped him right away. And it's kind of like, even the mistakes of maybe, hey man, just pass the ball if those kind of things, right? And they're only one game away, I think, though. But
Campbell has had chances to start. He hasn't taken advantage of it. So to be honest, I don't think he has started. He still should be used as a super sub, and he's lacking even as a super sub right now. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's well.
It's just those little things, that we're missing, and that's why like the whole thing is just not going.
And I agree with you, Jose. I do think if Mena and Meneses are definitely on the top forms, man, like everybody shines in León. For whatever reason, I don't know. And I was watching basketball the other night, and they were saying, "Oh, it's because in the bubble, not everybody has the same mentality and stuff like that." And I guess maybe it's something that we're not really taking into consideration, which is maybe not having people in the stands or whatnot. Maybe this whole pandemic and how it's affecting. Maybe it's psychologically for some people and some players, it is gonna affect them. But man, I think this is where you show what you're made out of. You can't let these things like really, I don't know, not make you unfocused. You have to focus. It's more than ever, I think. And I don't know, psychologically, we talked about this in the past about for whatever reason León siempre peca de soberbia. And we talked about cuando les meten gol, all of a sudden they have the urgency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I hope this is something that ends this season.
They need to start taking the initiative, and not wait for, I just got score and now I need to score because I need to win the game, or like no, like that's not
which like good, right?
like I feel like they kind of like they react,
which is crazy because like especially the season where they had the 12 straight wins, that's when I most felt them have like esa soberbia, because they're like, oh, we're gonna win 3-0 like always. And right now I feel kind of they're like, well, we haven't beaten anybody clearly like así como like for sure like it was like we blew them out of the water, right? Like that hasn't happened. So I think this is why. But I did see it with Tigres. I felt it with Tigres. I felt they were winning, and in the second half I felt they're like, oh, it's 1-0 and we're good, right? And no. And then once they scored, I felt like they had the urgency, but not enough, because once Pizarro was sent off, it was like they were, even con los cambios, even Ambris was like kind of telling us like, hey, we're not really gonna go all out. We're just gonna try to be smart and like pasar el balón. Like no, like I want to see Leon go all out. Like Louis said, go for the jugular. I think we had it. Pizarro wasn't playing. We could easily scored if we had that urgency, but I don't think. That's why this game with Queretaro and the next one with San Luis and then Pumas and America, like yeah, those are the 4 games that I'm most looking forward to. Kari, you're on mute. You're on mute, Kari.
Sorry. Let's go ahead and move on since we spent almost an hour talking about that game. I mean,
my
there's just so
God.
much to talk about because there's so much to break down. Let's go with Jose. Do you want to go over your stats for today?
Sure. I didn't have a lot because I was gonna give you today, but I just had a few. Let's see.
No worries.
Um,
Let's go with your clip.
okay, so I'll go with the one that says like stats spec manager.
Do you want me to put the one that you sent me or the different one you have?
There's I sent you 3. I'm not sure if you see that one. There's like one that says like stats spec manager. It has all the stats by Ambris.
I only got.
Or let me see.
I only got one, which is this one on here. The Guardianes 2020 versus Clausura 2020.
Okay, so
that's the only one I got from you.
Let's go with that one, and then I'll see if I can send you the other one.
Okay.
So for this one, so again, like last time, I'm just comparing. I actually forgot to put 9 on the top, but anyway, it's 9 matches. So now we have comparing to both Guardianes and a Clausura 2020, 9 goals in the Guardianes and the Clausura 2020 we have 20 goals at this time. 5 conceded, and the Guardianes solid defense on the Clausura. We have a leaky defense with 13 conceded, 5 shutouts, and this Guardianes mostly tends to Cota. Last season we only had one shutout. That's still bad after 9 matches. Assists still the same, 6. And then the Clausura 2020, 10 assists, points, 17, and that's actually wrong. I forgot to clear that. It's actually we're in 4th place right now, and last season I don't think we were in 3rd. I forgot to put the correct one, but we did have 18 points. So we have 1 point less in 9 matches, which is
no. I'm pretty sure we do have 18 points now, Jose.
Is it? Oh, never mind.
Yeah.
I forgot to do that. Yeah, you're right. It's 18 and 18, so it's actually the same. Sorry, you're right. I forgot to put that in there too. Thank you. So anyway,
Sure.
the rest should be the correct. So right now we have 5 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss, right? And then last season we have 6 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses. So top scorers, top 5 scorers is still Pilotti. He's played less games now, so it's 2 goals, and the Mena 2 goals, Montes 1, and Navarro is actually on 3rd now. I forgot to put him up there, so he has 2 goals. Jairo has 1 goal. Then last season, top scorer this time was still Mena with 7 goals, Meneses with 4, Ramos 3, Montes with 2, and Armando Leon with 1 because he actually played last minutes. Top assist leaders, Navarro 2 assists, still Avion Ramirez 1, Buron 1, Meneses 1, Mena 1. Last season, Montes 2 assists, Sosa 2 assists, Ramos 2 assists, Navarro 1, Samurio 1, Meneses 1, Mena 1, and Cambo 1. And that will be all for that one. I'm not sure if you can upload it or if I guess I'll just go over it.
Can you go over it? Because it takes me a
Sure.
couple seconds to do. But
Okay. Here, let me see if I can. I guess I'll show it to you here. I don't know if you gotta improvise, I guess.
right, let me
see if I can.
You
I
want to
don't-
read off another one while I do that one?
Sure. I'm not sure
Okay.
if you.
Because I can do that in a sec. You can read off another one if you want. And you did get a comment by Chango Loco saying, Jose is my favorite from the podcast. He is my tocayo.
Thank you. Saludos, tocayo. Let me see. So let me read off. I think I have another one here. Okay, so I'll just read off the record versus Queretaro. So that's in the last 9 matches, we have 6 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, and 20 goals in favor and 6 against, with the differential of +14, I believe. So favoritos. So yeah, if we don't win this game, then that's gonna be an upset for Leon. And then the other one, I'm not sure if you.
I am on it.
If you want,
Uh,
we can just like go over it at the end, and meanwhile it loads.
yes. And did we lose Javier by any chance? I think we lost Javier, but no worries. This is what it's all about. Technical difficulties, but technical difficulties. I am on my way to upload this, and excuse my dog in the background who is barking. Okay, Jose, I got it for you. Let me just quickly upload it, and we should be good. This is the filler time. There you go.
Okay.
Stats by manager.
So the reason why I brought this up, and since Carlos couldn't join us today, but he mentioned it on his club news, team news, earlier the on match day. On match day 9 versus Tigres, that was Ambris's anniversary. He cumplió 2 años en León. So that's why I wanted to go over his stats now. So he actually has, in all competitions, he has 80 matches managed. I messed up in that one. Shoot. Okay, so I'll just do the overall. The top one of the Liga MX, I think that one's wrong. So let's just do the total. So overall, Ambris has 80 matches in all competitions. He has 42 wins, 20 draws, 18 losses, and 137 goals in favor and 84 goals against, 53 plus goal differential, and he has an effectivity rate of 60%.83. So very, very good numbers. It's just lo que falta es el título. Lo más importante, la cereza en el pastel.
Exactamente.
Indeed, my friend.
That is all for me, guys. I believe. Short one this week, so.
I'm muted, sorry. Thank you, Jose. Awesome stats in regards to just how we're looking, and like he said, nomás nos falta el campeonato to kind of just put the cherry on top of the sundae. We lost Javier, but let's go with you, Louis. Are you ready for your travel stories?
Oh, I'm always ready.
Okay, let's cue your clip. Just a perfect video for you. Go ahead.
So honestly, I have to say I've been to Estadio Corregidora 6 times. It is obviously one of the closest. I believe it in terms of kilometraje. It is the closest visiting stadium to Guanajuato capital where I live. And honestly, my favorite visit to that stadium was not against Gallos. It was the semifinal partido de ida against America, which
Oh yeah.
because of air pollution in Mexico City was moved to La Corregidora. That's the only time I've seen that stadium completely filled to capacity. And it really was a home game for America, although there were a lot of León fans there. There always are. It's a very, very short trip, and Los Locos de Arriba and the rest of us, we always make ourselves very presentes there. So that was my favorite game, but I have to say the last 2 visits there were also pretty great. 4-0 drubbings of Gallos on the road by León the last 2 times that we played there. And you almost feel bad for the fans around you in the stands. You're like, first of all, you support Gallos, a team that has never won and will never win anything. And second of all, you have to see
Yeah, we're
your team.
close. We're
Second
close
of
when
all, you have
Ronaldinho
to
was
see.
there.
Okay, they won one Copa. They won one Copa. They won one Copa. That's literally the only title. But not only that, but it's not the same franchise since its founding. I mean, it's been like 3 or 4 different versions of Gallos.
Yep.
So they've had to deal with that. They've had to deal with teams that don't win. They have to deal with the pressure of all these Mexico City teams that are pretty close by. But no, you're Gallos fans. And, my respects to all the Gallos fans out there. I don't personally know any Gallos fans. But my respects to the Gallos fans out there who really choose to support that team with all the other options they have pretty close by. But yeah, that has been like segunda casa for León, just in terms of all the León fans that are around, and in terms of the way we've played there. And it's really, in general, a really great place to watch a game, a classic Liga MX stadium, great sight lines from no matter where you are. It's big, but it's not so big that you feel like you're watching. If you're up in the rafters, which I was for that semifinal, that was the only place I could get tickets for that one. But even if you're up in the rafters, you don't feel like you're far from the action. And yeah, we've just had some really, really, really great results there. And Querétaro, it's a beautiful city too. It's a great, just a great place to hang out before and after the match. Although I usually drive back the same night because it's so close. But yeah, lots of great memories in La Corregidora. It was actually despite being one of the closer stadiums to where I'm living, or to León, to Guanajuato. It was one of the last stadiums I visited. I was able to get for the first time because Gallos used to play all their games on Fridays, and that was when I had my orchestra concerts, and so I could never go when León played against Gallos in Querétaro. Then they started playing on Sundays and occasionally on Saturdays, and so I was able to get to a bunch of games. But yeah, La Corregidora, great stadium. A shame that for most of its history they've had a rather irrelevant franchise playing there. But the last few years, Gallos have they've looked a little more dangerous. Not this season necessarily as much, but maybe the future is looking brighter for the Gallos fans. For their sake, I hope so, but not for Leon's sake this weekend or this Sunday. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I mean, in regards to Querétaro, let's just go dig in and kind of so we can wrap things up. Querétaro, they've been saying it's the Mata Gigantes in regards to how they're playing. I remember watching that Querétaro versus America game. I mean, it was like back-to-back counterattacks on America, and it's something that they couldn't handle. So I'm not sure how I feel about it, about this game, just because the whole,
Well,
stigma around the Querétaro. But go
yeah,
ahead.
I mean, like, not just in this season. I remember when Stitch was there, they said the same thing, and what happened? Les metimos
Exactly.
cuatro, so like los barrimos, so like,
Sí.
so I don't know.
Yeah, it's a place we feel very, very comfortable playing. Well, we've played very, very comfortable playing the last few times for sure.
Yeah, so I mean, they may be the Mata Gigantes, but they're definitely not being Mata Gigantes versus León. So I don't know.
They've been very, very inconsistent. I mean, they look really great against America, but they've kind of fallen back down to earth. They look pretty good. They started off better than expected. I mean, we have to recall when we talked to Cesar before the Xolos game. I mean, the big theme of that was they basically sold all their team to Tijuana.
Pretty much.
Anyone who's a difference maker, not sold, but yeah. I mean, they before the
In a way.
Gallos were sold to a new owner, they gave away all their players to Xolos so that they would stay in the grupo.
Xolos plus
I
Querétaro.
mean, yeah. So the Querétaro was left with basically nobody. They've played considering that they've played way better than expected, but they've
Yes.
overachieved, and I think they're starting to fall back down to earth. They're definitely starting to fall back down to earth, and this is a must win. This is a must win for León, especially after dropping points against Tigres.
Maybe Querétaro is I don't know if it's a bit like irresponsible to say it that way, but like it's maybe Querétaro is in a similar position to Puebla, that they're kind of like falling down to into like realidad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. They're both teams with a lot of cualidades, but with a ton of weaknesses. Like you saw the cualidades that Puebla had in that first half against America, and then they just turned into a coladera, because that's really what they are. They have qualities, but that doesn't mean they're not a coladera. And Querétaro has a lot of weaknesses too. They don't. I don't expect them to put up the kind of fight that the desperate Tigres team did, with the kind of quality that Tigres has. I consider this a must-win for León, especially considering how well they've played in the Corregidora over the past few years.
I think it's a must-win. I just don't want any surprises. And in regards to our defense, I think we're solid, and I think we should be able to handle any type of counterattack that they may have, compared to Puebla, which is a very aging Puebla that, I mean, there's just on the still same of recycling all these players. I mean, the average age of that, I mean, it's probably in the 30s. I mean, it's such an old team in regards to Querétaro. So I don't want any surprises, but I do agree that it is a must win. Should we again, we should have won against Tigres, and we should have walked out this week. We should walk out this week, or should have, because the Tigres game already passed, with 6 points. But at least we're hoping that Sunday is the opportunity that tenemos que matarlos and just walk out and walk out the week with 4 points satisfied.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely. So as you guys can see, the Querétaro game is on Sunday, 7 p.m. Central. Javier has some technical difficulties, but he is tuning in on Periscope. It's not prediction time, but we're getting there. Yes, we're getting to prediction time. We spent a lot of time, come on, Javier, talking about the Tigres match, but let's go ahead and go to prediction time, and let's cue the clip. Prediction time, and I'm pretty sure Javier will give us his prediction on the Periscope. Let's start off with Louis. What is your prediction for Sunday's match against Querétaro? Second game of the week. ¿Qué piensas?
I'll go with 2-0. I would love to say another 4-0, like the last 2 times that we've played there, but I'm not going to say 4-0. I'm gonna go with a solid 2-0. I think Mena's going to score his first goal of the season from the run of play, as opposed to from the penalty spot. And I think Gigliotti gets on the score sheet too. I think it's going to be Mena Gigliotti 2-0. I don't see Querétaro scoring against the defense the way they're playing now. It would have to be another error off of a set piece, kind of like we had against Tigres. I think that would be the only way. But yeah, I'm going to go with 2-0. Mena Gigliotti.
2-0 Mena Gigliotti.
Gigliotti in the first half, Mena in the second half to put it away.
Very conservative scoreboard. Jose, your prediction? Are you gonna be conservative again, or are you gonna go a little bit more ambitious?
No, I think I'm gonna be hopeful. That's what I'm gonna be.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's gonna be this, but I want them to score 3-0, please. Like, and we need a 3-0 scoreboard. So I think it's gonna be Mena, one from Gigliotti, and I really hope, because he needs it badly, one from Meneses.
Okay, 3-0. Changoloco shared with us his scoreboard. He says Leon wins 2-0, also agreeing with Louis in a very conservative scoreboard. I think I'm going with you, Jose. I'm going to go a little bit ambitious and say 3-0. I think it's a game that it's going to be good, just because of how Querétaro has is their ups and downs. I'm pretty sure they're kind of, interestingly
more downs than ups.
more
Yeah,
downs
at
than
the
up.
moment.
Just a couple
They
surprises. We got to give them at
drew
least that.
they drew with Chivas only because of an error garrafal de Toño Rodriguez. Like it was just a super goalkeeping blunder. So they shouldn't have even scored in that game.
Aztec Lion agrees with us. He says, I also agree Leon should win by 3. I think it's a must needed. Oh, and then he says 3-0 or 4-1. I mean, he wants to repeat that.
Ooh.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, it very well could
Okay.
be. It very well could be. I mean, as we're saying, viene de bajada, and it very well could be. I hope so, but
It's like a 50-50.
but every time I predict a big win, it isn't. So I'm going back to
Yeah.
2-0. Yeah.
I've been conservative. Even Chagall said, dang, got it calling 2-0 conservative because I'm always shooting high because that's what they did last season. So now I have to kind of lower it down. But I'm like, you know what? Because of the game we had against Tigres, we need to actually score more against Querétaro. So that's why I said that. And yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'm hoping we keep a clean sheet. I think, like we've spoken, huge error that shouldn't have been made versus Tigres. So I think se repite la alineación. But if Mena is just not giving any sorts of like, hey, I'm here, I'm present, like I'm contributing, then what are you gonna say live? But if it comes to that, I need Avion Ramirez to come in and kind of just, lead us through because I mean, I think he deserves to start. And in regards to goals, I mean, I'm gonna say Navarrito scores another one. I think he's just been on fire, and I think if he's gonna be playing like he has been playing very offensively when he gets the opportunity, then I think he's gonna get another goal. I mean, goals are gonna be coming from our center backs and Capito Montes. So that is that. Guys, anything else before we take off?
Did Javier say his?
Javiercito, if you're listening, give us your scoreboard before we leave, please. I wonder what Carlos would have said.
Oh yeah.
Go Javier, going once, going twice.
Going twice.
I think Carlos would have. I think Carlos would have said 3, probably. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
2-0. I think he would have said 2-0, but I'm not gonna.
But I don't want to speak for Javier, but I think Javier would say 3-0. Would agree with you guys and say 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd
probably be like, 4-0.
Yeah, right.
Just the up one.
Like, I mean, there's precedent for that.
Let me change my prediction. It's going to be 4-0 now.
I mean, it wouldn't be out of the last 2 matches they played against Gallos at La Corregidora were 4-0 wins. I mean, so it's there's history to back that up.
It will be consistent with what happened before.
Yeah.
Definitely. So hopefully I'm gonna give the rundown of what the weekend's looking like, and if Javier's not giving us, then we're out. So this next upcoming jornada, Necaxa versus Chivas tomorrow night. Also tomorrow night, Juarez versus Puebla. Saturday night we have Atlas and Mazatlan. I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch that game. Then we have Tigres versus Santos.
The judge
sounds like a very pleasing to the eye game, Cardi.
Mazatlan has been terrible, and Atlas is just igual o peor, probably.
Duelo de sotaneros.
Yeah, you better have some coffee in hand if you're gonna watch that game.
Then we have Tigres versus Santos. Interesting game there. America versus Toluca. Very interesting as well. Toluca just coming off of a loss, and kind of rumors if they lose again, if their coach is going to be sacked. But then we talked about Necaxa too. I mean, they have, I think, they haven't won in 5 games, so there's kind of trouble there as well.
I still say they gave up too early on what's his name, Sosa?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is what we're accustomed to, Liga MX, and then just to bring in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's incredible. It's incredible that Nacho Ambriz has been 2 years with the club. There really are no proyectos. There's no projects. They don't let anything. I mean, you go on one run of bad form and you're out. Like it's just a carousel.
Yeah.
Like Necaxa has done very well, like terms of like player transfers and everything. But when it comes to a consistent, solid project, like no, like
They sell too quickly. Like,
yes, they do.
and
Yes.
sometimes I mean they give up too much without bringing enough back in. Like that's always going to be the risk when
Exactly.
that's your strategy to just keep
Like-
buy and sell all the time.
Yes.
I feel like if you're an Casa fan, it's like you're like praying that the next batch of like transfer players is gonna break out and then you're gonna be good. Or not.
They basically, I
That's
mean,
gotta be stressful.
each ciclo gets maybe 1 year at most to try to win something, because then they get sold.
Yeah.
You can name
exactly.
there's a laundry list of players that have gone through there recently and then have just been sold.
I'd be really surprised see this be then what's his name? I just lost the name. Who's Necaxa's coach right now? What's his name?
Necaxa's coach?
Yes.
Profe Cruz?
No.
Wait.
That's who they want to bring.
Sorry, San Luis. What's his name?
Oh, San Luis.
Memo Vasquez.
Yes. Memo Vasquez is another player that I'm kind of also wondering what's gonna happen there. Because it did, Necaxa and San Luis, all these negotiations between them. I don't think it's benefiting.
And they traded coaches,
Pretty much too. Yeah.
See, like all these switches that happen, like all these coaches were just fine where they were.
Exactly.
Like literally, like they were doing just fine. Like where they were just doing just fine, and Morelia, and then Memo Vasquez was just doing fine. Where which one was it here? And was it on Necaxa?
Well, he left Necaxa on his own terms, I think.
Right,
probably because he knew that there would never. He'd never have players for long enough to really have a project.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's another story, but I mean, don't be surprised if we see a coach sacked either Toluca or San Luis, or I don't know. It's just a surprise nowadays. Then we have Pumas versus San Luis, which will be interesting. Queretaro versus León, obviously a game to watch. Xolos versus Cruz Azul, and Pachuca versus Monterrey on that Monday Night Football. And that is it, guys. Javier did not give us his scoreboard on the air, but I'm sure we'll get it later. We just want to thank you guys, everybody who joined us on Periscope on Twitter and on YouTube. Shout out to Chango Loco for joining us. Also, shout out to Paco Vela for joining our stream. Saying congrats and to keep this up. Yes, because we're here to spread the English content for Club León in English. So thank you for joining. Raul Guerrero also joined. Then we had Javier also join us. Azteca Lion, thank you. Chango Loco said, take care, guys. You too, and thank you so much for sticking us for a whole hour and 20-something minutes. So much appreciated. And don't forget to follow us on all social medias. We're available if you guys want to rewatch this on YouTube, also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to check out our Twitter page on the screen. Open up your camera and scan the QR code for the Lions Den podcast, and also on the other side, Los de Arriba Oficial for their official webpage on Twitter. Louis and Jose, we were taking off, and we're hoping for a win against Queretaro on Sunday. So we'll catch you guys next week on another episode of the Lions Den podcast. This was episode 45, Goalkeepers Duel. As we know, Cota has been a fantastic player for us, and we hope he keeps up the good work and helps us kind of go through it all, right, guys?
Right. Absolutely.
And when we're taking off, thank you guys, and we'll see you another episode next week.